What's up, Lions Nation? I am the Soul Man. That is the Stat Man. And this is We Are Lions Nation podcast. We are alive for you guys Saturday night. Lions heading into Minnesota tomorrow. Big division game. A lot on the line in this game. Going to be an exciting one. We're going to look at the stats or the head-to-head stats. We'll take a look at the injury report. We're going to look at the We Are Lions Nation poll question for the week, the results for that, and talk about the game. Statman, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, doing all right. Just had a long Nerf gun battle. I would say I probably lost in this battle. These kids are vicious when it comes to these kind of games. And I'm just not as young as I used to be. I'm not as agile or quick enough to move out of the way of bullets hitting my face.
That definitely happens.
Yes, and I'm very sweaty.
Being a track coach, last season, the kids wanted me to race them. So I finally did. And I realized real fast I cannot run anymore. Yep.
Definitely a huge difference from being, our age compared to being in high school, young bodies, athletic, used to doing it all the time. Now we know why the gym teachers made us run the mile.
Dane's in the house, says, what's up? What's up, Dane?
What's up, brother?
Dare?
What's up, brother?
And again, Dar has been liking and sharing all of our stuff today. So we appreciate that, Dar. We know why you're doing it.
He's definitely on a roll toward that top subscriber prize.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, we are at that 234 mark on that Marcia 500. So please like, subscribe, and share We Are Lions Nation podcast. Hey, we're trying to bring you some good Lions content, trying to bring more people in to watch every single week. But we appreciate everybody that's been with us from day one. We appreciate you guys so much.
We also want people to hop into our show, too. Be a guest on our show. Give us your opinion on the Lions. Give us your opinion on the other team. It doesn't matter. Just come in, talk football, just like the guys sitting around the table watching a football game. That's how we want our show to be like, and it's all about the fans and you guys watching us. We want to make it as entertaining as possible. So if you want to hop on, just send us a message. Let us know you want to be a part of the show. We'll get you on, talk some Lions football.
Absolutely. Hey, I put it out there all the time for people to come in, but people have told us many times they want to come on the show, but when it's time, no one ever wants to come on. So. The We Are Lions Nation poll question for this week was: will any team go for offensive coordinator Ben Johnson with a price tag of $15 million per year? That came out all over social media. 36% said yes, 64% say no. I know there's a lot of people that said that it was kind of like that price tag was more of a, this is how high my price tag is because I know I'm not going anywhere type of thing. Statman, I know that one team that's been super interested and that has already been talking about trying to get Ben Johnson is the Panthers. So any thought from you as far as what Ben Johnson's status is going to be with the Lions?
I'm never going to throw out the chance of something happening. I think there is a chance some team is going to want him as a head coach. But for $15 million a year, that's the kind of price tag you put on a coach that has experience as a head coach in running a whole football team, not just the offensive aspect of it. And the toughest part about going from a coordinator to being a head coach is you have to give up that coordinator spot. Maybe you overlook the plays a little bit, but the offensive coordinator is basically the one making the play calls. You have to give that job to somebody else. I think, honestly, most coordinators fit better as a coordinator. I don't know. I just don't know if he's going to be a good head coach yet. I think he still needs time to be a coordinator, run under the system under Dan Campbell for a little bit before he jumps into that. But, if he wants to take the opportunity and, throw himself into the water, so to say, go ahead, man. I mean,
I agree with you. I think it's too early for him to go anywhere. I think that what he has going in Detroit is really good. I don't see him leaving at the end of this year by any means. Maybe, like you said, once he gets a little more experience, then maybe. But I like what the point you made, because sometimes an offensive coordinator is really good as an offensive coordinator, and that's it. Like, they don't really fit as the head coach, but they sit well in the offensive coordinator spot. I mean, when it comes down to a lot of things, most of it usually falls on a head coach and not necessarily the coordinator. You know what I mean? So, do you want that, or does he? He's a brilliant play caller. He's good at what he's doing now, and the Lions are still building this team. Regardless of how well we're doing right now, this team is still building and still has tons of potential to go for the next seasons forward. I think if he left now, it'd be a mistake.
yeah, and honestly, I think it all falls on how the season ends for the Lions. Say we hypothetically go to a Super Bowl and win it. Hypothetically, right here speaking, we win the Super Bowl. Now that price tag is a little bit more acceptable, I think, for teams to pay him that kind of money. And I could see that happening. But I think it all depends on how the season ends, because if he leaves the season with things left on the table that he feels like he left unfinished business here in Detroit, I don't see him leaving. And I don't see Brad Holmes letting him just walk away either.
No. And if you think about it, this is really the first season from start to now where we've had a really good record. Things are going really well for the Lions. Playoff contention, possible number 1 seed contention. Like, this is just the first year of that. Why leave right after that when you have something so great that you're building? Especially if they don't get a Super Bowl this season. You got to think he wants to get that with this team. You know what I mean? So maybe he sticks it out. I honestly don't think he goes anywhere. But Candace says hello. What's up, Candace?
Hello, Candace.
Dar says Belichick gets $20 million a year, but he has a lot of rings. Even after one Super Bowl, I don't think anyone will pay him that much.
Unless they're extremely desperate.
Plus, you take Ben Johnson and let's just say you put him in Carolina. That team has some work to do. So he's not going to be able to go into Carolina and just be super successful right away. I don't think it's going to happen. That might be a 2 to 3 season rebuild. And is he going to want to do that?
Or is Carolina even going to give him the time to do that?
Right. They don't have enough weapons over there to be successful right now. Or they would be. My opinion.
I mean, just look at the history of the Lions head coaches. How long have they really given coaches to turn the team around? They haven't given them long. Dan Campbell, I think, is the longest they've given, other than, say, Jim Caldwell or Schwartz.
And I think, though, if you look at that now, things are a lot different than they were then. With Brad Holmes in there now, I don't see Dan Campbell going anywhere for a long time. Even I honestly think that if we lose a coordinator anytime soon, it'll be Aaron Glenn. That's who I think would go first. But other than that, I don't see anything changing, at least for another season or two. The injury report, fullback Jason Kabinda on there. He was listed as out with a knee. CJ Gardner-Johnson is listed as out. He was a limited participant in practice all week, but is listed as out for this game. Jerry Jacobs out with a hamstring. Brock Wright out with a hip. And Derek Barnes is listed as doubtful with a shoulder injury. Any surprises there to you, Statman?
Not really. I mean, Cabinda's been out pretty much almost all year. Gardner Johnson, I didn't see him getting rushed back onto the field so quick. Jerry Jacobs, no. I mean, he really has been playing poorly the last few starts he's had. Brock Wright's not going to really affect us too bad. And Derek Barnes, I mean, we have great backup linebackers to fill in for him. So I don't see anything that's like surprising, I would say.
I think I was hopeful that maybe Gardner Johnson would play in a limited role, maybe come in a few snaps, a little like less snaps than what he normally would just to get back into it. But I do understand him not being in there. Like, I get that too. The good news is he was in practice all week. He did participate. We can take that as something moving forward. I think maybe next week will be hopefully the week where we get to see him back in action.
Well, with Melifonwu and Kirby Joseph playing as well as they are, it's kind of hard to, throw somebody back in there like CJ Gardner Johnson and risk him getting hurt even further or like a career or a season-ending injury.
I get what you're saying. When it's not super needed to have him in there because we're doing okay. But I think him in there adds on another level to that defense. Jason Morgan, coming from over on YouTube, says, hopefully we can keep these turnovers down the rest of the season. I think we need to be listening to all offers for a starting quarterback. Statman, do you think we need to be listening?
I think Jared Goff is our starting quarterback through the rest of the season. I say unless he completely screws us over in the next couple games and costs us a playoff berth or the NFC North title, for example, then I would say look that route. But I don't see that happening. I see our team steamrolling the rest of the year. I even see us upsetting Dallas at Dallas. And I don't know. I'm comfortable with Goff. Goff is a great quarterback, top 10 stats. I think he's viewed at, I mean, he doesn't have as good of arm talent as Matt Stafford. But you remember Matt Stafford when he'd lose games by throwing turnovers? It would always be his fault, and everybody say, this is what I said about Stafford. He's not a starting quarterback. He can't win the big games. He's proven that wrong time and time again over there in LA. So, I don't know. I just think we just need to give him time. I think he'll come into his own toward the end of the season. This is the prime time spotlight for him. So, see what happens.
You think you got to go with Jared Goff. I think you go back to that trade. I think that trade that was purposely done. Brad Holmes has known what he's doing this whole time, and I think he made that move for a reason. And I am 100% behind Jared Goff until proven otherwise that he can't do it. Dar says, I did read an article. Ben Johnson, an agent, said that was a false statement on the $15 million price tag. Well, there you go. Hey,
yeah,
that's all just social media and Lions news. You never know, if that's for real or not. But regardless, it's still a possibility that he could be looked at for a head coaching job. It's not like that's out of the possibility. Victor's in the house, says, I think we win one of the next 3 games. Is that a typo?
That's rough. I think we win all 3. The way our team's going right now, and I think we're just going to steamroll through.
Yeah,
they know what's on the line.
Dallas got exposed last week, and I think our run game is going to dominate against Dallas, and I think that gets us a win against them.
And I don't know if you've
And
seen the stat or not, but we are on the verge of being the first team in NFL history of having 2,000-yard rushers and 2,000-yard receivers.
I did not see that. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, because Gibbs already hit it, and I know Montgomery's got to be close.
No, I'm talking about rushing yards. Gibbs has hit the all-purpose yards, but I'm just talking about rushing yards itself. Gibbs is 208 yards rushing away from 1,000 yards rushing on the season. Montgomery is 145 yards, I believe. And then Sam Laporta is about 240, I think it's 248 away from 1,000 yards receiving.
Wow. That's not out of grasp for any of that to happen.
No, it's definitely doable.
Dane says, I say 2 of 3 worst case scenario. Dar, if Ragnow and our O-line stays healthy, we will win out. Yeah, that made a big difference. And Victor says, no, I think we split the Vikings and lose to Dallas, as much as I hate to say it.
We're going to give Dallas their first loss at home.
Yep. Head-to-head, we have the Lions passing offense, 8th versus Vikings passing defense, which is 7th. Lions run offense, 4th versus the Vikings run defense, 9th. Vikings pass offense, 18th versus the Lions pass defense, 16th. I don't know why it says that on the end. I have no idea why that happened. But, yeah, so that's it. All right, Statman, look at the numbers. What are you thinking in this game?
Pretty evenly matched division game. Like I say, every division game, you got to bring your A game. No matter how the Vikings record looks right now, they're still on the cusp of possibly putting an end to our season and to our hopes of the NFC North title. So they need to come out, start strong, run the damn ball, run it often, and set up for the play action. That's what Goff is good at. That's the type of quarterback he is. Pocket passer, gets great separation off play action if our run game is good. Our offensive line needs to do their damn job and keep Danielle Hunter and that dangerous defensive line away from Goff.
Agree. And I think Dar even said it earlier. If the offensive line keeps playing like they were playing last week, I think that our run game's going to dominate Minnesota. Jason says, so guys, think back to almost every one of our losses. What was the common denominator? INTs and a few pick sixes. Also, what do you guys think about us going up early in games, it seems? Statman, go to you first.
You know, I see the common denominator. Turnovers is the big one. Goff was a reason for most of those turnovers. But a few of those I can't blame on him because the pressure was so freaking bad he was getting hit as he was throwing. Some of them were completely his fault. But I think our offensive line needs to do a better job of keeping pressure off Goff so he's not feeling like he needs to get a quick throw out. That's what tends to happen when he's not getting the protection he needs, is he's trying to look for the first person in his progressions, and he's not being able to get down to the check down routes or to his second or third or fourth option. And a lot of guys have seen when Goff is throwing to somebody that's covered, there's a guy wide open running down the field, but he doesn't get the chance to get to that progression in the play call. So I'm standing behind Goff 100%. Every quarterback's going to have their bad games. As you can see, I mean, Dak Prescott was called the worst freaking quarterback in the world in every one of his losses. Said he needs to get shipped off. but the guy can win games too.
I mean, you look at almost every quarterback, even the great ones like Tom Brady, when you have people in your face constantly throughout the whole game, you're not going to be that good. But if you look at games like last week, Jared Goff looked really good and accurate. Why was that? Because he had time to throw the ball. Jason, there's another part to this. Like we take our foot off the gas, and by the end of the game, we are biting our nails.
Yeah, I completely agree. And me and you have talked about it, Andy. You know, the third quarter. We have been horrible in the third quarter. It seems like we'll be up at halftime by quite a few points. And then in the third quarter, all of a sudden we lay a goose egg. Last week that changed. I don't know if it has to do with play calling or they're just slacking and think, hey, we got a good enough lead. We don't really need to do it. But last week was a proving point. Everybody's talking crap about Detroit across the league for running up the score on Denver. But I think they were trying to prove a point that they're not going to let their foot off the gas anymore.
And I hope, Statman, that you are right on that, because it took up until last week to finally see something happen in the third quarter. And to Jason's point, we come out with a 21-point lead in some of these games, and then all of a sudden by the end, think back to the Saints game, by the end, we're trying to figure out if we're still going to win this game or not.
Yeah.
And that I to this day have not understood why that happens. What happens in that locker room when they come out? Like, I don't get it. If you have a lead, like I'm just using 21 as an example, a 21-point lead in the first half, in the first quarter, you should have a very, very good lead in going into halftime and then continue that on to the next half. It shouldn't be the other way around. It's like either every single game the other team figures it out and just all shuts us down, or usually we go off with the run game too early. There's a lot of factors, but last week we stuck with the run game and it worked once they started it going. Lose last game to the Vikings due to sitting starters. Dar, I need the same production as last week from Gibbs and Laporta. Another common denominator is when our O-line is healthy, we score 38 points a game on average, and we are undefeated this year with a healthy offensive line. Yeah, that makes or breaks it.
Well, that denominator also goes to Goff getting pressured and then Goff turning the ball over.
Those mistakes happen when Goff drops back and then 2 seconds later he's got 3 people in his face. If that doesn't, and Jason says, great show, guys, and let's get this done. Lions. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jason. We appreciate you. And yeah, we're going to get this done this weekend. Tomorrow, Lions are going to come out. I already predicted it. I'm going to give you my score prediction right now. 38-17.
There it is.
We're dominating this game.
I say 34-10. Statman says 38-17 for the Lions, and the nation's score predictions are on the bottom. Chris Willis, 38-17 Lions. Dare Erickson, 24-17 Lions. Jeremy B, 31-24 Lions. Christopher Green, 31-7 Lions. Kent Swanson, 28-24. He's got it closer. Tim from Maniac Sports says 42-7 Lions, and Joseph Ho says 31-28. Thank you to all of you that jumped in, and because I threw that up in the last minute, so I appreciate everybody that did comment and get your comments in on that. But Minnesota, they got what's McManus or whatever the heck is, I can't think of what their quarterback's name is that's starting. I know it starts with an M.
Nick Mullins.
Mullins, thank you. And then you got, I think Justin Jefferson's going to play. I think I seen he's their biggest weapon. So we shut him down. They do have other weapons. Madison's a good weapon, but I just don't think Minnesota offense is going to be able to. I think our defense is going to dominate them. I think our defensive line is going to get pressure this week. I think we have at least 2 interceptions and 3 sacks from the defense. And I think our run game dominates with that offensive line play.
I think that's the key to it, too, is keeping Minnesota's offense off the field. You got a dangerous weapon like Justin Jefferson. And then let's not forget Addison, too, on the other side. Both guys are dangerous in the receiving game. We cannot let them have a chance on offense. And then you also forget TJ Hawkinson. And he's going against his former team. He always plays hard against division teams.
I mean, the key for me to winning this game is that pressure. If we can get pressure, cause a lot of 3 and outs, like you said, keep the offense off the field, they don't have a chance to score. Then we control the game. But we have to do that all 4 quarters. I'd like to see a little more production this week in the third quarter. This is a big division matchup for a huge – this is for playoffs. This is for the division. Like, there's so much on the line in this game. If the Lions go out there and flop, what does that say? Like, did they
it's not even big in that aspect either. A lot of people don't know that Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. When he took over interim head coach in Miami, he fired Ben Johnson, our offensive coordinator.
I did see something.
So there's a little bit of revenge going on there. I see Ben Johnson dialing it up in the run game. I see him dialing it up on a couple trick plays. That's why I see a dominating win here. I don't think Minnesota stands a chance. I know it's going to be a division game, but I think the Lions are on a roll right now, and it's going to be hard to stop them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we come out fast and we stay that way the whole game and never put the brakes on. And I think we win. He's 34-10. And that's exactly what the score is going to be. I talked to Dan Campbell.
You better put a bet on that if you really think that.
He told me that was going to be the score when I talked to him earlier.
And I'm not influencing anybody to gamble. If you got a gambling problem, call the gambling hotline. You really need help, okay? But I'm just saying, if you really think your score is dead on, $5 bet on there. Win some money.
All right, there's one more thing we have to do.
Wallets.
In the zone player.
What's that one more thing?
Who's your in the zone player for this week?
Jared Goff.
I like it. I can't keep going with Gibbs, even though I think he's going to have another good game. I am going to go with S. Laporta for my in the zone player. I think he has another monster game. I think he wants to prove something. I think him and Hawkinson are going to have a little competition going on secretly. Dar says Gibbs and Laporta. Have you guys thought about taking the show on the road for a playoff game, like live at a BW3 or something like that? I wish. I would go live during the game. That'd be fucking awesome.
I know I've went live before for our show.
He has.
At home games.
From Ford Field. It was awesome.
I even sang the fight song right in the main corridor there, and people were looking at me like I was crazy.
That's the part of the subscribers. When we get the more subscribers, especially when we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, things change for We Are Lions Nation podcast. So hopefully one day we will get there. But that's where you guys come in to help. Please share the podcast with all your Lions friends, fans, friends, and let them know about us. We try to have a good time. Jason says, agree with Laporta. I think he's going to have another 150-yard football game. There you go, Dar. There you go.
It's that time of the night. Time for the stat man to sing the fight song. We got to get tomorrow rolling right. Lions victory tomorrow. We're going to win big. Hope everybody appreciated the show. Hope you all enjoy us. And here we go. Forward down the field, a charging team that will not yield. And when the blue and silver wave, stand and cheer the brave. Rah, 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 go hard, win the game. With honor you will keep your fame. Down the field and gain a Lions victory. Go Lions! One pride, baby. Let's go, Detroit. Let's get this dub. Let's get this NFC North title. We're going to freaking do it.
That's right. Thank you, Statman. Like always, doing it like only you can. Only you can. On behalf of the Statman, myself, and We Are Lions Nation podcast, thank you all for watching. We will see you Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the post-game show, hopefully talking about a division win and a division clinching win. Good night, everybody. We will see you Monday.